to you, Capricorns. You have the Five of Swords, then you have the Knight of Swords, right? And then you have the Fool. So we need to go through this slowly. So the Five of Swords and the Knight of Swords are about how you Capricorns are not going to be doing yourselves disservice anymore. And what I mean by that is you're trying to go against the grain. You're trying to do things that you're basically trying to run uphill. You know, you're trying to get to know people and they're giving you a hard time to get to know them. Relationships are not about relationships is not about you being difficult or them being difficult. If a person is making it hard to get to know them, it's time for you to leave them alone. That's what it is that I mean when I say don't force it, right? If they're making it difficult to get to know them, you're gonna have to bounce, you know? Because like it is, I said before, time is being wasted with all of this type of nonsense. The Fool now, right, represents how you have to learn to essentially let go. Because when you're trying to fight with someone and argue with someone as to why it is that they should let you be in a relationship with them, all it's going to do is is number one, it's going to pump their head up, but more than likely they're not actually going to change. More than likely, what more than likely they're going to do is they're going to waste your time. They're going to get you upset, and now you're going to feel a certain kind of way. The Two of Cups and the Five of Cups now represents how, but also you also have to take into consideration that the Two of Cups and the Five of Cups is about, if you want this type of relationship, you're going to have to get over this type of relationship, right? If you want a relationship where you and a person get along with one another, and the two of you are good, and the two of you get along and you get each other, you're going to have to get over this. And what the Five of Cups represent is the loser type of relationships. You know, when we start talking about this, everybody wants to pontificate about how to make relationships work. Ultimately, there's only one thing that make it work, and that's personal choice at the end of the day. You know, you have all these people out here striving to get the same people. And if that's the case, right, putting favor back into the hands of those people that actually meet that qualifications or meet those expectations or meet that type. But then at the same time, all it's going to do is do you a disservice if you fall for that. So this is what it is, and I mean when I say start playing your game. You know, I'm not afraid to admit that I've dated bigger people before, bigger women before. I'm not afraid to admit that. Because for me, I know that I'm dating. I'm trying to see what works and what doesn't work. So it's not a matter of I need to, and I've been teased for it about it too. So it's not a matter of me feeling like I have to feel bad or feel this or that. I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do. I'm going to date because I've come to find out that, like, when I was like trying to find myself and understand things, and I had little experience, all the pretty individuals or whatnot, they were the ones that a lot of the times were the most stuck up. And you could talk to them as far as a friend is concerned, but there was no way that and they was approachable as far as a friend is concerned. But as far as getting with them, you were not going to get anything. They were only trying to hang out with people who have money. And I'm okay with that, right? Like, I'm not knocking, I'm looking at it from a scientific perspective. But when I really got down to it and I started to understand how people really are, the loser, it's the loser, the trying to get another person to, it's either, for the most part, when it comes to the loser things, it's one or two things. It's either trying to have a person, it's trying to either live up off of a person. They don't provide anything. They're just basically living off of an individual. Or it's another way where it's trying to turn the other person off by doing the worst that they possibly could to whomever, no matter what the situation is, and it's totally dysfunctional and wrecked, and it's totally out of pocket and just all over the place. And that's what it is. And when you really understand the meat of it, so to speak, you realize that all this stems from self-loathing. And you have to learn to get out of that level of self-loathing too, because it's the reason why it is that we end up making the terrible decisions. It's because we, for the most part, most of the times, we get ourselves into these terrible relationships because we're spending too much time not really going after what works for us and even trying to see what works for us. It's more about what other people intended or what we should go with, what's trendy, right? But those things for us sometimes aren't necessarily the best things for us. Because when I dated the bigger people, right, so to speak, because I don't want YouTube to hit me, but when I dated the bigger people, right, I realized I could have dated them. But then I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can meet regular, slender type of people. And then I realized I could have dated them too, because it worked. Then I started to understand, like, oh, okay, I can kind of date whatever it is that I want. So I started to stay in the range of it, right? So now I'm like, okay, let me not necessarily go after the most prettiest in the world, right? But pretty enough, right? Then I realized, okay, we was kicking it. But then they had their confidence boosted too much to the point where they started to diss me. Then I started, right, and I was like, okay. So all of these different things is I just was dating, and what I'm saying is the same thing for you Capricorns to do. Experiment, see what's out here, date high and low, see what's out here, see what is your range. Because what I'm seeing is that a lot of you Capricorns don't know. A lot of you Capricorns, for whatever reason, you didn't do the very same thing that I was doing when I was 15, 16, 17. More so 14, 15, and 16, because 17 was my senior year, and that's when I graduated. But a lot of you wasn't really doing that for whatever reason. And the point that I'm trying to make here is, since a lot of you Capricorns skipped over that, maybe you should be doing it. Because a lot of you Capricorns don't know what your range is. Like, you don't know what it is that you can get. You don't know what you can pull. For me, my range is all over the place. I can get whatever, pretty much whatever. It's just a matter of if they're willing to give me a chance. But based upon me just, and I hope YouTube don't hit me for this, but based upon metaphorically throwing darts at the wall, I know that I can get whatever, because I've dated and tried to get to know and talk to and got my foot in the door of a hodgepodge of results. So now the Six of Pentacles and the Tower is about how, so for you, go after the people that, try to find your range. Go after what works for you. How do you know what works for you? Get to know what works for you. Try things out. See what happens. See what's going on. Try things out. And the situation with that is the Six of Pentacles and the Tower is about, because what's going to happen is there's all kinds of subtle and sudden things that are going to come out of the woodwork. Like when you're getting to know certain people, that's just dating. And when I say dating, I'm not necessarily talking about having romantic fun. I'm talking about dating, like legitimately trying to date to get to know the person, and multiple people, meeting multiple people, but you're not having romantic fun. You're going out on first and second dates, maybe even 3 times, to see if these people you are compatible with them. I'm talking about asking them questions. And then what that will do is, let's just say you date 3 different people, right? You're dating 3 different people. You having options. By the time you start hanging out with them 1, 2, maybe even 3 times or whatnot within a month, right? right? Within a month, by that third time, if you asking them questions and if you doing it right, if you talking to them enough, if you hanging out with them, if you putting them in certain settings, more often than not, you're going to see if they are official, if they're good to take out in public, or if these are people that you would be embarrassed to actually be around and have in your life. And the thing is that the tower represents, and when you are dating these quality of people, you will find out all manner. You will find out that people have more value than what you originally thought. Then you will find out some people where you thought had all this value are really trash like that. The Ace of Cups now represents, and you have to get out of your comfort zone. Because the Lovers and the Devil represents Capricorn as the major arcana, but the Devil represents something different in this. The Lovers and the Devil represents because you Capricorns are ultimately trapping your own selves in to this ideology that you need to date whatever you don't know. I'm gonna keep it 100. You Capricorns don't even know your own skills. And how you're going to be able to figure that out is by dating, trying to see what works. You know, you didn't do it when you were younger, unfortunately. For whatever reason, do it now. And this is what it is, and I mean when I say, and I hope YouTube don't hit me for this, shoot the ball. Like a basketball game, shoot the ball. And what I mean by that is, this is why a lot of people end up getting to a certain age and they may end up having to be by themselves, single, because for the rest of their life. Because of the fact that people have such a problem with shooting the ball, shooting their shot, actually approaching people. When even Crimson Cure now is basically starting to, shout outs to her, but even Crimson Cure now is starting to talk about how a lot more people on both sides needs to start shooting a shot. Like this ideology of you not doing anything and you talking about what one side is doing. So people are starting to agree with me, shout outs or whatever, to be more humble. We're agreeing with one another in that regard, that everyone needs to shoot their shot. This ideology of not saying what, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, how come this person ain't talk to me? Well, did you talk to this person? Did you reach out to them? No. So what are we doing right now? We're wasting time. Literally, that's what we're doing. Because what we never hear is, well, did you shoot your shot? Did you, like a basketball game, do a head fake, you know what I mean? And have handles, right? And actually shoot the ball? No. So what are we talking about? So the thing is that for you, if you don't do that, Capricorn, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to know how to get approached, and you need to know how to approach others, because and none of them are supposed to overpower as far as be more important than the other, because when you don't know how to get approached, sometimes you don't know how to take a compliment. It goes straight to your head, and then you start to act overconfidently, because now you start to put yourself in a level of delusion of, well, people go for me. Yeah, but okay, somebody flirted with you. Okay, calm down. You know what I mean? Like, don't take this to your head. You know, don't go too far with this thing. And you need to approach people, because approaching somebody helps you get over social anxiety is what it is too. That's a part of it. So you need both. And then when you blend the two together, when it is that you learn how to do both, you know how to get over the social anxiety of approaching, but you also know how to essentially get over the social anxiety of having someone approach you, but also talk to them. Also know what to do now when someone is trying to push up on you, so to speak. So, you know, you don't fall, you don't get smaller when it's time for you to actually be like, no, I'm not scared. Let's exchange numbers, right? The Devil, you put yourself metaphorically in your own cage, and you have to start loving yourself. So this is what it is I'm talking about. Get over the relationships that you feel like the person is trying to get you to jump through hoops, and you got to do all the strenuous work to get to know them, just to get to know them, get over that, and also learn how to approach others, date, see what it is that you like, see what you don't. How do you think I know what I like and what I don't? I dated. One of the things that the people that I was dating lacked is integrity. A lot of them like to move the goalpost. So from trial and error, I started to realize from experience, like, I don't like it when a person is constantly moving the goalpost. They expect me to eat all of the responsibility. The situation happens, they blame everything on me, even if I may have been a perfect gentleman. I may have been an individual that was treating them right, and I mean, really, for real though, treating them right. They still blaming stuff on me? Nah, that was a dub for me. Like, that was a complete dub. I wasn't gonna allow somebody to sit there and blame me when all of this that I was doing was treating them like a queen. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not finna be doing all of that. So let's clarify the Ace of Cups. You have the King of Cups, King of Pentacles, the Justice, and then you have the King of Wands. So the King of Pentacles is Capricorn and Taurus mixed in the Minor Arcana. So you showed up in your own reading again. I'm getting all these notifications. Shout outs to everybody who leave comments. Get to that comment section. Hit that like button too. Help me out. Help me grow. The King of Cups and the King of Pentacles represents right, because the truth is, it's in your head and your heart. You're at odds. Look at how these kings are. You're at odds, Capricorn, with yourself. Then you, in the external world, when it comes to meeting another person, you also at odds with them too. Because some of you Capricorns may not know how to socialize the way that you should, and you should know how to socialize, especially if you Capricorns are going to reach the top of the world. You need to know how to socialize. Like, it's not optional. You can't be a shut-in and you know, be a king or queen.